she's not interested is not the end of the story. It's just the beginning if you know what you're doing. See, most men hear a lack of interest from a woman and immediately bow out. They take it as gospel, like she's a queen handing out verdicts and you just got sentenced to the friend zone. But let me tell you this, women don't always know what they want until they feel it. And that feeling, that's where you come in. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about tricks. This is about understanding raw male female dynamics, the silent rules women don't say out loud but subconsciously react to every single time. When you know how to trigger certain responses, you change how she sees you. You go from just a guy to the guy. The truth? Attraction is not always instant. Sometimes it grows slowly, quietly, dangerously. Sometimes a woman will swear up and down that she's not into you and still end up thinking about you at night. Why? Because you hit a nerve, a deep, emotional response most men never get close to. That's not magic. That's strategy. And here's the real kicker. Women are more emotionally driven than logic-based when it comes to desire. You don't win her over with arguments or being nice. You win her by being undeniably magnetic, the kind of man who commands presence, who makes her question her first impression of you. Because the truth is, first impressions lie, and second chances belong to the man who knows how to flip the script. So this is not for the weak. It's not for men waiting for approval or hoping she'll change her mind out of pity. This is for men who are ready to shift the entire game. I'm going to break down exactly how to spark that desire, even when she's not interested at first. No gimmicks, no cringe lines. Just cold, hard understanding of how to become the kind of man a woman wants to want. Let's break it down. 1. Rejection isn't real, it's reactional. Let's be brutally honest. What most men call rejection is usually just a reaction to how you presented yourself. That's it. It's not personal, it's not permanent, it's emotional. And emotions shift fast. Women don't reject men because they're evil or harsh. They reject what they feel in that moment. If what you're putting out doesn't spark curiosity, tension, or confidence, she doesn't reject you. She rejects the energy you're showing. Here's where most guys mess up. They treat a woman's first response as final. They walk away the moment she seems disinterested. That's a mistake. Because the truth is, interest can be created. Women aren't attracted to men by checklist. They're attracted by emotion, energy, and impact. Think about it. Have you ever seen a woman completely ignore a guy? Then weeks later, she's into him? What happened? Simple. He shifted how she experienced him. That shift might have been subtle. He started speaking with more certainty, moved differently, held eye contact a little longer, became less available. But it triggered a new reaction in her. And that's the key. Rejection is a snapshot, not a full story. It's one moment, one emotional temperature check. But if you change how she feels in your presence, you change everything. Let's say you approach a woman and she says she's not interested. Most guys take that like a gunshot to the chest. But a man who understands attraction knows she's responding to what she felt in that first 5 seconds. So instead of retreating, he stays calm, unfazed, even amused. That energy alone changes the dynamic. She now sees a man who doesn't crumble under social pressure, and that's rare. That's attractive. And if you walk away with your frame intact, not begging, not reacting, just grounded, you've already planted a seed. She might think about that later. She might remember how you didn't flinch, and that moment may replay in her mind differently than it felt at first. Bottom line, rejection is never really about you. It's about the moment. Shift the moment, and you shift the outcome. Most men lose because they never try again from a new angle. The winners? They know rejection is just a reaction, and reactions can be changed. 2. Don't chase, replace. The more you chase her, the less she feels she has to value you. That's just how it works. And the hard truth is, most men destroy their chances with a woman not because she wasn't interested, but because they wouldn't stop chasing. Let's get something straight. Women aren't attracted to effort. They're attracted to energy. The energy of certainty. The energy of presence. The energy of, I don't need you, but you'd be lucky to have me. Chasing screams the opposite. It says, you're better than me. Please choose me. Here's the killer part. The moment she feels you've put her on a pedestal, the game is already over. Not because she's cruel, but because you've unknowingly told her you're not enough without her attention. So what's the shift? Stop chasing, start replacing. That doesn't mean ignore her or be cold. It means you redirect your focus. Instead of constantly trying to win her over, focus on becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts options. When a woman sees that you're not obsessed with her, that you're not checking your phone waiting for her reply, that you've got other things going on, that's when she starts to question her position. Here's what happens when you replace chasing with living. You stop sending weak signals. You create mystery. You control the frame of the interaction. You become more valuable because you're not available to everyone. Women feel this deeply. They won't say it out loud, but they're drawn to the man who values himself more than he values her approval. You stop being a fan and you start becoming a challenge. That shift alone can turn not interested into curious, then confused, and eventually attracted. And here's something many men need to hear. You don't prove your worth to a woman by chasing. You prove it by being able to walk away. When you stop acting like she's the prize and start moving like you are, everything changes. Let her feel your absence. Let her wonder. Let her see you're not hung up on one outcome. That's power. And power is attractive. 3, confidence is not loud. It's inevitable. Let's kill a myth real quick. Confidence is not about being loud, flashy, or in everyone's face. That's not confidence. That's performance. And women can smell the difference from a mile away. Real confidence? It's quiet, solid, undeniable. It's in how you carry yourself, not how much noise you make. And the crazy part is, you don't even have to say much when you have it. It speaks for you. Women notice it without you needing to announce it. Think about it. You ever see that one guy in the room who barely says a word, but somehow everyone feels his presence? That's not an accident. That's inner certainty. And that kind of energy doesn't beg for attention, it draws it in. Here's why this matters. Most men overcompensate. They think they have to prove their value, be funnier, be louder, be more entertaining. But in trying to be everything, they lose the one thing that matters: centered energy. That sense of, I'm good with or without your attention. Confidence is knowing you belong in any room without needing permission. It's not arrogant. It's not cocky. It's calm and it's rare. That's why it's attractive. You don't need to impress her with a resume. You don't need to tell stories to sound cool. You need to know your own value and move like a man who's already enough. Not someday. Not if she chooses you. Now, and here's what makes it even more real: confident men are okay with silence. They don't fill every pause, they don't rush to prove themselves. They're not afraid of being misunderstood because they're not performing. They're rooted. And women feel that. What most guys don't realize is that confidence becomes inevitable when you stop outsourcing your self worth. When your validation doesn't come from her response, but from the way you see yourself, everything changes. You become harder to ignore, harder to forget, and harder to replace. So if you're trying too hard to come off as confident, you've already missed it. Real confidence is not shown, it's felt, and when it's real, you don't chase, you attract. 4, nice guy. No tension. Let's be real, being the nice guy is one of the most overrated strategies in the dating world. And most men don't realize it until it's too late. They've already been friend zoned, already been thanked for being so sweet, already watched her go for the guy who didn't do half as much, but sparked something she couldn't ignore. Here's the cold truth: being nice is not the same as being attractive. Most nice guys are good men, respectful, kind, thoughtful, but they lack edge, they lack tension, they lack polarity. And without those things, attraction dies before it even gets started. You're probably thinking, so I shouldn't be nice? That's not the point. The point is, nice isn't enough. It's expected, it's common, and it's safe. And safe doesn't excite a woman emotionally. Safe doesn't make her heart race or her thoughts spiral at night. Here's what happens: the nice guy gives everything up front. He compliments too quickly. He makes himself constantly available. He agrees with everything she says. He avoids anything that could cause discomfort. He thinks, if I treat her perfectly, she'll see I'm the one. But what she feels is boredom. There's no mystery, no challenge, no spark. And eventually she'll say that line every man hates to hear: you're such a good guy, but I just don't feel it. Why? Because you gave her a friendship energy when what she craved was polarity. Masculine energy that's grounded, not needy, not reactive, just strong, unapologetic, alive. So here's your wake up call. Being nice without strength is not attractive. And deep down, you probably already know this. You felt it when the guy with less manners and more confidence walked away with the woman you tried so hard to impress. That doesn't mean become disrespectful or cold. It means pair your kindness with boundaries, pair your respect with strength, speak your mind, say no, take the lead, flirt with risk, let her feel you. Because until a woman feels that tension, that masculine presence that doesn't bend for her approval, you're just another nice guy. Safe, predictable, forgettable. Wake up. Stop trying to win her over. Start being the man she wants to figure out. 5, her type. Changes with her emotions. Let's stop pretending women have one clear type and they stick to it forever. That's one of the biggest lies guys believe, and it's exactly why many of them get stuck thinking, she's just not into guys like me. But here's the twist. A woman's type isn't fixed. It's fluid, emotional, situational. What she says she wants and what she actually responds to are often two different things. She might tell you she wants a man who's kind, stable, and supportive. Sounds good, right? But then who is she texting at 1 a.m.? The guy with the edge? The guy who made her feel something? Not the checklist guy, the emotional trigger guy. This isn't about being fake. It's about understanding that a woman's attraction is driven by mood, timing, and how you make her feel in the moment. You could be everything she says she wants and still get left on red if the energy doesn't match her emotional state. That's why some women will swear they don't date bad boys, yet keep going back to the guy who doesn't even text them back. Why? Because he creates emotional spikes. Highs, lows, unpredictability, tension. That's not logical, but attraction rarely is. So what's the move? You stop chasing her type and start becoming emotionally dynamic. That means you show range. You're not flat. You're not robotic. You're not just a nice guy. You can be serious, sarcastic, deep, mysterious, playful, and she never knows which one is coming next. That keeps her emotionally engaged. It keeps her guessing. It keeps her interested. Because here's the real kicker. A woman's type in her 20s might not be her type in her 30s. Her type when she's angry is different from when she's vulnerable. Her type after heartbreak is different from when she feels confident. And if you know how to shift your energy without losing your core, you can become the man who fits every version of her emotional state. So stop trying to fit her idea of ideal. It changes. Instead, be the man who makes her feel what the checklist can't describe. Because her type, it's not a person, it's a feeling. And the right feeling will always win. 6, silence speaks louder than apologies. Here's a truth that will change the way you deal with women forever. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Most men talk too much. They over-explain, over-apologize, over-pursue. And in doing so, they lose the one thing that keeps a woman's attention: mystery. You make a mistake, you send 5 messages explaining yourself, she pulls away, you start chasing, asking what went wrong. She gives you attitude, you try to fix it immediately. And with every word, you give away more power. But a man who knows his worth, he doesn't do that. He doesn't apologize for existing. He doesn't beg to be understood. He doesn't fill every silence with explanations. He lets the silence speak. And that silence says everything. I'm not desperate. I'm not chasing. I'm unshaken. Here's the thing. Women notice your absence faster than your presence. When you're always available, always explaining, always texting back instantly, it becomes expected. It blends into the background, but the moment you pull your energy back, she feels it instantly. Silence forces her to reflect. It creates space for tension, and tension is the birthplace of attraction. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, and simply hold your ground, you shift the dynamic. You're not trying to fix the vibe, you are the vibe. That doesn't mean you ignore her to play games. It means you don't explain yourself when nothing needs to be explained. You don't chase conversations that don't flow. You don't apologize for taking up space as a man. Because guess what? Attraction dies in overcommunication, but it thrives in curiosity. She can't be curious about a man who's always laying everything out. But when you leave space, when you don't say everything, don't react to everything, she starts wondering. And once she's wondering, she's feeling. And once she's feeling, the door is open. Remember this: your silence tells her more than your explanations ever will. If you know you did nothing wrong, don't explain. If she pulls back, don't chase. If the energy shifts, don't panic. Just stay centered, because sometimes the loudest message a man can send him is silence. 7. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strategy. Most men have been trained to believe that showing emotion, being open, or revealing parts of themselves makes them look weak. So they hide everything. They try to act unbothered, unshakable, robotic. And guess what happens? They become forgettable. See, what men need to understand is this: vulnerability, when done right, is not weakness. It's a weapon. It builds connection, it builds tension, and more importantly, it builds authenticity, which is rare and ridiculously attractive. Let's break it down. When you share a piece of your real story, not a sob story, but something honest, something raw, it shows you're not afraid to be seen. And that confidence, that level of "this is me, take it or leave it," that's magnetic. Because here's the truth: women don't want a perfect man, they want a real man. A man who has scars but still stands tall. A man who's faced things, gone through life, and isn't afraid to talk about it, but isn't defined by it either. You know what's actually weak? Pretending everything is always fine, acting like you don't care when you do, hiding behind humor, status, or surface level talk because you're scared to show depth. A man who's confident in his masculinity can sit in discomfort. He can admit fear. He can be emotional without losing his edge. And when he does, that's when women really see him. That's when they feel something deeper than surface level attraction. That's when the dynamic goes from fun to real. But here's the key: vulnerability is not dumping your emotions, it's not oversharing or being emotionally chaotic. It's controlled exposure. You share from strength, not from a place of needing to be saved. You're not asking her to fix you. You're showing her that you're human but solid. And when you do that, two things happen. You separate yourself from 95% of men who never get past small talk. You invite her to open up too. And that's where emotional connection is born. So stop hiding behind the fake cool. Drop the mask, show depth, show story, show strength. Because a man who owns his truth becomes unforgettable. 8. Sexual energy without touch, neither power. This is the part most men never master: how to create deep, undeniable attraction without even laying a finger on her. That's real power. That's what separates the guy she likes from the one she fantasizes about. See, sexual energy isn't about touching her. It's not about trying to escalate too fast. It's not about dropping dirty lines. In fact, doing any of that too early kills the vibe instantly. Why? Because it feels forced. It feels desperate. And desperate energy is the enemy of desire. But when a man can radiate controlled, calm, grounded sexual energy without needing to act on it, that's when her imagination kicks in. And once her imagination is involved, game over. Understand this: attraction starts in the mind. If she's thinking about you when you're not around, you've already won. And the fastest way to get into her mind is to make her feel something without trying to get something. It's in your eye contact, the way you hold it just a second too long, the way you speak, low, certain, no rush, the way you stand, still, grounded, unshaken, the way you pause, letting tension sit in the air like electricity. That's sexual energy, not touching, not words. Presence. Most guys try to close the gap too quickly. They want to rush to the next level. But the secret is this: the longer you can sit in the tension without trying to release it, the more powerful it becomes. That tension, that's what she remembers. That's what she replays later. And here's what women won't tell you, but absolutely feel. When a man can flirt with energy, lead with intent, and not immediately act on it, he becomes dangerous in the best way. Because he's not needy. He's not begging for a moment. He knows he can have it, but he chooses patience. That's rare, that's dominant, that's masculine. So stop focusing on the physical. Start mastering the presence. Make her feel the tension build without saying a word, without moving an inch. Because the men who understand this don't chase her body, they live in her mind. 9. She tests you because she's curious. Let's clear something up. Women don't test you to be cruel. They test you to understand you. It's not always conscious, it's instinctual, it's emotional. And if you don't know what's really happening, you'll fail the test before you even know one started. Ever had a woman say something that seemed like it came out of nowhere? Maybe she questioned your confidence, challenged your opinion, pulled back just when things were going well, or even gave you a little attitude for no real reason. That's a test. But here's the twist: it's not a trap, it's a window. She's not looking to break you, she's looking to see you. She wants to know, are you grounded? Can you handle tension without flinching? Are you still in control of yourself when the energy shifts? Or will you crumble the moment things aren't smooth? And why is that important? Because how you respond in moments of pressure tells her who you really are. Every guy can be cool when things are easy, but a woman doesn't want a man who's only confident when everything's going his way. She wants a man who can stay centered even when things feel uncertain. So when she pulls back emotionally, delays her response, says something edgy, or changes her tone, she's not necessarily being difficult. She's watching how you react. Do you panic? Get emotional? Start pleading? Try to fix everything? Or do you stay calm, laugh it off, hold your position, maybe even challenge her right back, but from control, not ego? That's what creates attraction. Because if she can shake your frame with one little test, she knows you're not really solid. But if you pass it, if you stay grounded, unaffected, and cool, now she's intrigued. Now she sees strength. Now she wants to know more. Here's the bottom line: tests aren't rejections, they're invitations. An invitation to step into your masculine frame. An invitation to prove you're not just another guy acting confident, you are confident. So next time you feel like she's acting weird, don't get thrown off. Get focused. That's your moment. That's your shot to stand out. 10. Mystery triggers. Obsession. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. The man who tells her everything, shows her everything, explains everything, gets forgotten fast. But the man who reveals just enough to spark her curiosity, that man stays in her head. Days later, weeks later, sometimes years later. Mystery isn't about being secretive for no reason. It's about creating space for imagination. When a woman can't quite figure you out, when she's unsure what you're thinking, what your next move is, how deep you really go, you trigger her curiosity. And curiosity is the first stage of obsession. Because here's what most men don't understand: you don't need to be the best looking guy in the room. You just need to be the most interesting. And interesting doesn't mean loud or wild, it means layered, subtle, unexpected. Most guys give it all away too fast. They tell their whole story on the first date. They confess feelings way too early. They respond instantly. They post everything online. And without realizing it, they remove every ounce of mystery. There's nothing left to discover. No edge, no tension, no reason to wonder. But the man who knows how to hold back, to let her ask the questions, to let her feel just slightly unsure of where she stands with him, that's the man she thinks about. Here's what mystery looks like: you don't overshare. You let her earn access to the deeper layers. You don't always explain your choices. You let her feel your decisions, not just hear them. You show presence, but not desperation. Attention, but not obsession. You create contrast. One moment you're playful, the next, grounded. She never fully figures you out. And that's the key. Mystery builds emotional tension, and emotional tension builds addiction. So if you want to be unforgettable, if you want to stay in her mind long after the moment's gone, don't show her everything. Let her discover it. Because the man she obsesses over isn't the most available, he's the one she still can't quite decode.